Welcome to our hearing conservation safety training. If necessary, please turn up the volume. Requirements for hearing protection are based on exposure levels as measured by the time-weighted average 8-hour sound level, or dBA, which is the baseline index for the need for hearing protection. The first level, known as the action level, is when the TWA equals or exceeds 85 dBA. In this instance, an operator, such as DeWin, must provide a form of hearing protection to the employee. However, it is up to the employee whether or not they wish to wear that hearing protection. The next level is the permissible exposure level. This occurs when the TWA exceeds 90 dBA, in which case an employee must wear one type of DeWin-provided hearing protection. Last is the dual hearing protection level, which occurs when the TWA exceeds 105 dBA. In this instance, an employee must wear both an earplug and an earmuff type hearing protection. Why hearing protection is important to you. First, hearing protection can reduce noise exposure and lessen the amount of noise-induced hearing loss. Hearing protection may help to reduce tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears. It can improve communication and can prevent job performance effects such as fatigue and irritability. Last, it can prevent extra auditory effects such as stress diseases and sleeplessness. Discussing types of hearing loss, let's begin with noise-induced hearing loss, which is simply the gradual, permanent loss of hearing due to continuous, high-level noise exposure. This is followed by sudden hearing loss, which can be caused by viral infections, acoustic trauma, and vascular disease. Next, we have age-related hearing loss, which is simply the gradual loss due to the normal aging process. After that, we have congenital hearing loss, which is hearing loss which is present at birth and is due to genetic maladies. After this, we have ototoxic hearing loss, which is hearing loss caused by exposure to certain drugs and toxic agents. There's also other disease-related types of hearing loss. All types can collectively contribute towards the severity of one's hearing loss. Noise-induced hearing loss. Let's consider the distinctions between occupational and non-occupational noise-induced hearing loss. Occupational is hearing loss due to occupational noise sources. These can be operations or presence of noisy equipment, heavy equipment, stone saws, rock drills, just to name a few. Non-occupational hearing loss is due to non-occupational sources of noise, such as recreational and other noisy activities, woodworking tools, chainsaws, unmuffled motorcycles, loud music, firearms, and more. Both occupational and non-occupational noise sources contribute to one's exposure and hearing loss. Effects of hearing loss. First, we have temporary threshold shift, or TTS, which is a temporary reduction in hearing due to fatigue of the ear caused by noise exposure. Between the end of the work shift and the beginning of the next shift, the ear usually recovers from most of the TTS. Over time, though, the TTS becomes permanent and new amounts build upon the permanent loss. Next, we have standard threshold shift, or STS, which is a change in hearing sensitivity for the worse. This is a cumulative effect of continuous high-level noise exposure. Acoustic trauma, immediate hearing loss from exposure to an extremely loud event, can cause a TTS as well. Noise-induced hearing loss is preventable with the proper use of engineering and administrative controls in addition to personal protective equipment. Let's consider the following elements: types of hearing protection devices, selection of hearing protection devices, proper use of hearing protection, maintenance of hearing protection devices, and performance of hearing protection. When speaking of hearing protection devices, the first thing that normally comes to mind are earplugs. This is followed closely by earmuffs. Dual protection combines both earplugs and earmuffs. Now, let's look a little closer at the selection of hearing protection, starting with earplugs. The pros for earplugs are that they are more comfortable due to the lack of a headband. Secondly, they're cooler in hot weather. And finally, they're easier to wear in confined spaces. The cons would be variable attenuation due to proper fit and insertion practices, unsure fit, easily worked loose from routine motions like chewing and jaw movement. Last, they're difficult for communication in intermittent noise environments. Tedious to remove and reinsert. They're hygienic, there are some issues there. They're easy to get dirty. And last, they're easy to lose. Now let's consider earmuffs. The pros would be, first, they're more comfortable in colder environments. They're more consistent attenuation than earplugs. They're more suitable for communication with intermittent noises. Some models are equipped with electronics for communication, and they don't work loose by repetitive motions such as chewing or jaw movement. The cons would be the headband pressure can be uncomfortable, incompatible with other safety gear such as safety glasses and hard hats, not very comfortable in hot weather. Perspiration can collect under the ear cup, causing annoying sounds in the ear canal. Proper use of hearing protection. Remember, earmuffs don't fit all head sizes. Proper fit should be determined by an occupational hearing conservationist. Continuing with proper use of hearing protection. Earplugs must be properly inserted. Step 1 would be to roll the earplug up into a small, thin snake with your fingers. You can use one or both hands. 2. Pull the top of your ear up and back with your opposite hand to straighten out your ear canal. The rolled up earplug should slide right in. 3. Hold the earplug in with your finger. Count to 20 or 30 out loud while waiting for the plug to expand and fill the ear canal. Your voice will sound muffled when the plug has made a good seal. Check the fit when you're all done. Most of the foam body of the earplug should be within the ear canal. Try cupping your hands tightly over your ears. If sounds are much more muffled with your hands in place, the earplug may not be sealing properly. Take the earplug out and try again. Let's consider maintenance of hearing protection devices, beginning with hygiene. First, pre-molded earplugs should be washed. Next, disposable plugs should be discarded after each shift or if they become dirty. Earmuff cushions should be wiped off regularly. Hearing protection should not be used when you have an ear infection. As per replacement, pre-molded plugs shrink and harden over time and should be replaced if this occurs. Earplugs should return to their original shape, otherwise they should be discarded. Earmuffs should be checked to ensure a good seal is formed against the head. Headbands weaken with age or sometimes become sprung. Cushions eventually harden and fail. Ear cups can become brittle and crack with age. Performance of hearing protection, as measured by the noise reduction rating, or the NRR. This is a standardized measure of noise reduction provided by a hearing protector as measured in the laboratory. It's not to be used to predict what the user will or will not hear. It's a relative measure similar to EPA gas mileage, for example. It provides for comparison when choosing a suitable protector for the intended use. Now, when we're discussing dual protection, which is use of earplugs and earmuffs as required when levels exceed 105 dBA, you do not add the NRR values for double protection. Typically, you add 5 dB to the NRR of the most protective device you're wearing. Your hearing protection device can't assist you unless you actually wear it. Wear your hearing protection. Hearing loss due to improper use of hearing protection often goes unnoticed. There are no visible effects, there's no bleeding, and often no pain. There's only a gradual, progressive loss of communication with family and friends and a loss of sensitivity to the environment. Noise-induced hearing loss is preventable. Proper use and selection of hearing protection is a must. Hearing protection in combination with noise controls is the best method of prevention. The bottom line, you must wear your hearing protection where required. One pass into Whiting workers' hearing is precious, and we need to work together to preserve their quality of life.